I think that some of leadership is inherent, you know.
Yeah.
Uh, um, Growing up, I was the quarterback. I think when you're put in that position, you have to lead. I mean, that is your job,
Yeah.
frankly, is to be a leader. So there's a gravitational component to the quarterback, like
Yeah.
he's calling the huddle,
Yeah.
So I think that's part of it. But I've always just aimed to be a good teammate. Like that's ultimately been my goal. Good teammates have a lot of leadership capabilities. Good teammates look out for the person to their left and right. Good teammates, look downfield and think about future obstacles and work to run plays to get around the obstacle that's downfield. So, um, yeah, I mean, I think being a good teammate's always been my goal in terms of like what would I attribute my skills to beyond the innate skills of a leader. I'm big on modeling and emulating and paying attention to your surroundings. And I think I'm nothing more than an accumulation of what I've seen in others, good and bad, and what I
Yeah.
want and what I want to apply from what I can take from them and apply, or
Yeah.
what I've taken from them and don't want to apply. So
Yeah.
I think I've had the good fortune of working with a lot of very strong leaders, both professionally, within my home growing up, my father and mother, tremendous examples of leaders.
Yeah.
And then also, of course, throughout my athletic career, which is long since over, but were formative nonetheless. So I
Yeah.
think, and even when I coach my kids, it's like, actually, I'll tell a story like coal fire, early days, struggling. Nobody knew who we were, trying to get a new service off the ground. Nobody even knew the service existed. And I joked that I was probably a pay period or two away from being terminated. It was like the dark days. And my wife just innocently, I'm talking with her about it, and Tina just says, what is Ken doing? And the joke over time has been WWKD, right? Instead of WWJD, right? Because it was like an epiphanal moment for me. I was like, yeah, of course. Like growing up in sports, I'd see, Ricky Henderson's stance and I'd want to emulate his stance, or I'd
Yeah.
see, how Steve Largent, took a stance. Why am I not doing what Ken Ballard's doing? He's over there crushing it.
Yeah.
So, but I think that's a superpower when you can be observant, when you can see people that are experiencing success and you can tie the patterns that they're out there executing, and you
Yeah.
can like make those your own. Like, I mean, that is just it's obvious, but I think it's a superpower. Some people could do it at very high levels. That's how people ultimately reach very high achievement, I believe. So,
Yeah.
modeling, paying attention, trying to tuck in, positives that you see from others into your own game. Ultimately, I think long
Yeah.
answer, but I
No, no,
think it's a
no. Well, I
balance.
was listening just kind of just as you were talking, and again, I was kind of just thinking back to the leaders that I have that I'm so appreciative of, and they have this similar approach. It's, for me, I'm always looking at them for help, but they're like, "Dude, you tell me what you need from me to help you. Like, I want
Yeah,
you to succeed and be the best you can be. Like, tag me in if you need, or hey, if you got a question. Like, they're never the best leaders are never they're not coming in from the get-go and just telling you what to do and making you go a certain route. Like the best people I can think of, they're just like, "Hey, man, here's what I tried. It worked. Maybe it works for you. If it doesn't, try something else. Let me know what you need
yeah,
help with." Um, but then they also have that kind of on the back end of your answer there of just never being satisfied where they're at, like continuing to observe other people, continuing to read a book, about somebody or and the way they lead, and listening to podcasts or going to different things to hear people speak, like just constantly trying to be better, and sharpening their skills so that they can use. And when guys like me see that, it just encourages me, to do the same thing. And okay, if
right,
they're if they're reading a book, if they're continually trying to be better, like I already think they're better than me, but they're still trying to get better from where they're at. So like they're never
yep,
stopping. And again, that's just what
yep,
I've seen from you from afar. It just always seems like you're trying to be better, you're trying to learn, you're trying to encourage. And again, that's where I was just like, man, Ryan seems like a cool dude to work with. It seems like a great person to have as a leader.